Graphic designers create visual concepts to communicate information. They create everything from posters and billboards to packaging, logos, and marketing materials. Graphic designers use elements such as shapes, colours, typography, images, and more to convey ideas to an audience. For Assessment 1, I interviewed graphic designer Maddie Wilson, who is currently employed at Distill Agency, Sydney.
My job now is just like so fast paced that we probably don't have that much time in what I normally do day to day to have like as much of an ideation process, I guess. But like all of our clients sort of have like a brand guidelines anyway that we work off. If I was doing a branding job or something like bigger like that, I would definitely be starting with like Pinterest, like getting a mood board going, probably like designing up a bit more of a mood board to begin with. Maybe like the photography style and stuff like that, just to like get a feel for everything.
Yeah.
And then doing like logo designs after that and like color palettes and things like that. When I was freelancing, it was more, you have to be so like well managed with your own time. And I think because I was also working in bars and stuff, I just didn't have as much motivation. But yeah, I think like I really like agency work as well. Like I wanted to work in an agency out of uni because you work on so many different brands. So you can kind of like really test out what you like doing. I have like hectic, extreme like attention to detail, like nearly OCD level, which is like very good for graphic design.
Very good, yeah.
And I think like I just always grew up like reading heaps and stuff. I was very introverted. So I always notice on bigger documents and stuff if clients have typos. So I'll always fix them for them. And that's something that like a few clients have commented on, being like, oh, it's really hard to find graphic designers that actually like pick up on like the copy you give them as well and like sort of double check, proofread it for them. In a few bigger brands, I'm like, oh, that's hectic, but not, I haven't worked on it heaps, but I did do like an ad for Uber over in New Zealand. And then also I did some illustrations for KFC that they used in one of their ads. So I don't know, it's kind of hard like saying, because when I first started at my job now, there was basically only one other designer there. And she was like a mid-weight designer, and then only recently we've hired a senior designer. So it was like my boss has design experience, so she'd probably mostly be the one giving me feedback and like collaborating with. But like because we do a lot of smaller jobs, we don't often collaborate really. It would probably be like the more senior designers and stuff that might collaborate a little bit on like the bigger branding projects that we have, which I'll probably start getting into this year. Yeah. And last year Distill did like all the branding for them, and they've got like 3 or 4 different like stories to their building, and each different level had like different branding. So I didn't do most of the branding, but I did do the illustrations for Apollonia, which was their underground bar. And that was kind of like lino print illustrations, and like that was really cool. I think like one of the more senior people came up with like the concept and stuff, and I just did it. So it was like kind of easy, like I didn't have to think too much about it, but it was like just really fun to do all the illustrations. It's just like really liked as well how like graphic design can sort of like inspire like social change and stuff. Like you've probably seen like on Instagram even like infographics and stuff like that. I think it's like a really sort of like powerful tool, I guess, and it can be used in like a really like positive way as well. with art, but I'd always like had the idea that I would have loved to do like a swimwear brand or something like that. I did 3 different like prints, I guess, and they were like repeat prints, with the intention that it would be like made, like printed on a fabric and then made into swimwear. Like I kind of tried to bring awareness to like kind of heavy environmental issues, I guess, but in a more kind of fun way. Like
Yeah.
the colors are pretty bright, like it's not a gloomy sort of like artwork or whatever.
Yeah.
But like these are the prints that I'm talking about, I guess. But then also the second component of it was I did design the branding, so it was called like Mandarin Swim.
After gaining insight to Maddie's creative decisions behind her project Mandarin Swim, I decided to conduct my own textual analysis of the work. As Maddie grew up on the south coast of Ulladulla, she was inspired by her surroundings. This was ultimately transcended throughout her pieces as she wanted to bring a taste of home to her artworks. The name itself immediately summarizes the brand in a simple and catchy manner. Mandarin references nature and summer, while Swim works to clearly communicate the brand's association to swimwear. Maddie's illustrations and prints successfully promote environmental issues whilst doing it in a fun and playful way. The tiny dot work, which has been laid and scanned together, conveys this idea that individuals may come together to form one. With the reflection of such major issues subject throughout the work, Maddie has referenced bright and pastel colours so the audience is able to experience the prints in a positive and memorable way, to ultimately associate these ideals with the topic of environmental sustainability. Repetition that is also used throughout the pieces creates an element of unity whilst also helping create texture and bringing the project to life.